Hi there everybody, my name is Kate and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. We're on the road to Canyon City, ironically passing by a huge state prison. It's one of the creepier places to drive by, not to make a stank, it's just got some very conflicting and icky energy. So anyway, we're passing by that. The reason that I'm starting this video, a lot of stuff has been coming this morning, and as I've been driving, as an energy worker, I do a lot of stuff in mountains where I live here in Colorado, and with myself and with the land itself in a very natural way that kind of freaks me out sometimes about just how powerful this stuff is. But what I wanted to get into is that when we embrace our unique freak, we can really embrace some ideas that we might not have been able to before, like being able to go into a mountain and believe that I can effectively change something there for the better, that I have that power. If I don't really have the power to see myself as unique and a unique freak in a very good and positive way, if I've allowed myself to believe that I'm somehow not good enough, that I am just too weird, too strange, a freak in a bad way, that I'm just nasty, filled with shame, all of those messages that I don't know anybody that didn't grow up with some level of them, but depending on how awful they were and how much we're still affected by them, if we're not able to really let go of that stuff or find out that we have things so beautiful within us that we can be embracing and enjoying, we can't really go and allow ourselves to open up to the wonder and the mystery and the delight of the natural world and the magic and the alchemy that happens when we really tap into our spirituality, our spiritual sovereignty, our own energy, and then be starting to open up all of the portals of understanding to the energy that's all around the natural world, that's all around everywhere, that we channel information, which the whole entire system is energy. It's all magnetic fields, it's all vibrations, it's all frequency of some kind. And so if we don't really understand ours, or we don't really appreciate the uniqueness of ours, or we consider ours dirty, or we don't consider it at all, excuse me, or we put a lot of shame on it, or allow other people to have laid their shame and their blame and their junk on us, and we never clear that, then we're missing the opportunity to not only see our own brilliance and our own beauty, but we're missing the opportunity fully to go in and enjoy the unique freak of the woods or of the ocean or of whatever is in our world that we could be tapping into and seeing the beauty. It's very easy to tune a radio station to a very strong and powerful antenna, right? Unfortunately, what's happened on Earth is that the tuning into dark energy and dark entities, demon stuff, demonic, devil, however you identify dark, dense energy, those radio frequencies, if you will, are easy to pick up because they're so pervasive, and most people are tuned to, my frequency is tuned to pick up, hear, and acknowledge and see the darkest stuff, because that's what's been prevailing here on Earth. Well, now that we're moving into a need to really acknowledge our light bodies and to acknowledge that we're moving into new Earth, and new frequencies, new energies, and a new way of doing things. You see all the paradigms breaking down because they can't be sustained. Those denser energies cannot handle the laser precision that the universe brings with these upgrades, that the energy can't be sustained. If it's dense and dark and nasty, it's being exploded. You see it everywhere, from a personal level all the way up into a global. Take any snapshot you want, you see it happening everywhere, in every sect of society, in every point of contact in business, finance, energy, church, sex, movies. It doesn't matter, music, it makes no difference, because we're all one connected system, so we're all going to be affected by that. However, the more that we acknowledge our own body, and no matter where it's dense, it's okay, we can handle our density, we can handle the fact that we've been dark, or that other people have been dark with us, or that we've been hanging out in dark places and doing dark things. We can do all of that. It's getting rid of the shame and the judgy, nasty, that we're awful. When we can unload that, we can really get in touch with the fact that, hey, I can raise my vibration, I can become a lighter being, I can exchange those old denser ways, those things that really just don't feel as good to me. We can exchange those for lighter, light body energy. There's a lot of people that would say there's very specific ways that has to happen, and I would agree with some of them, that there are some very unifying ways that it can happen. However, I'd also put it out there that when we allow people the opportunity to get inside to their own unique freak and not freak out when they get in touch with that, or not believe that, you know, you're dirty or nasty or gross or awful or whatever, when we can really help people reach that spot of you're a pure light being, no matter how dense all the shit is around you, no matter how dense you've played, at your core, you are a light being already. And when people tap into that and they say, oh wow, you know, that's me, yeah, that's you, you can make effective change no matter what you do. If you pick up a rock and communicate with it, if you use a crystal, if you use a piece of paper, if you use your mind, if you use parachute ride, it doesn't matter. The ability to tap into that from within is the most powerful great awakening that I've ever seen for myself or for anyone else. It causes an instantaneous shift that doesn't shift everything all at once. We couldn't possibly handle that kind of thing. To have everything shift into new energy at one time, we would explode physically and energetically. We just couldn't possibly sustain that energetic shift. However, you can have huge shifts in consciousness in people by just introducing them to the safety of it's okay for you to be your unique freak, and to be that part of you, to really get in touch with that and have a safe place to do that and meet that, embrace that, and say, wow, I really think that I can enjoy this. A lot of people, though, they get hung up because the ego is battling hard against that, because the ego, which is constructed by what's out here, it has nothing to do with what's in the core. The outside constructs of ego and battle and I'm in charge, and you know, I'm the aggressor, you're the aggressee, I'm the victimizer, you're the victim, whichever one you're currently playing. Most of us hang out in one place or the other when we're unawakened, or we're asleep, or we're unrealized as human beings. But when we're staying in that place, we tend to believe that that's all there is, and we're hooked into that denser energy. And it only takes really the opportunity for people to, if they're willing, and I'm not talking about trying to convince people that aren't willing, that's a waste of time. However, you have people that are willing, they smell something that smells like there's something different in the air that I might be interested in. When we can really allow people to meet your inner freak there, you know, your unique freak is really okay. It's a good thing when we meet that, inner child, or we meet that very nubile energy that's so fresh and so powerful, and then teach them and show them a way that we find that in its purest form, and then do not abuse that. Use it instead to continue building, continue creating, continue to use that very creative source energy to heal those parts that would want to 818 harm other people, or boss them around, or take over, or be a communist in somebody else's life on any level, or to allow anyone else to do that to us, or continue to do that to us, to our environment, to our animals, to our food source, to our business, to our energy, to our whatever it is. It doesn't matter. When we really tap into that in a very pure way, the best way and the most empowering way that I personally have found is that when people find that spot on their own, they can get some guidance about how to start, how to create the very fertile energy for that to be able to happen on its own. But when it's organically grown, I find that people reach a greater, more powerful sovereignty, because it's not being polluted by, I told you it had to be that way. That if somebody doesn't respond to a crystal, or they don't respond to, going to church, or they don't respond to ecstatic dance, or they don't respond to whatever it is, if they don't respond to that, there's a reason for it. And at any point that I'm helping a person reach resistance, I'm helping them create battle within themselves, and possibly setting up all kinds of terrible things about what they're doing wrong and what they should have done instead. And it's really not helpful, not even remotely is that helpful, to set people up for failure by creating doubt, or by creating a point of battle that I'm slowing them down. whether I mean to be or not. I'm slowing them down. If it doesn't work, that's the point for me to just take that and say, okay, and drop it immediately. That there's no need for me to push, because the minute that I push, I'm actually telling them that their little unique freak, their little insides, which they may be clouded, they may be misunderstanding, they could be a million things, but I'm not in there to know. A train just went by in Royal Gorge, very close to Canyon City where I am, that I'm actually telling that little sovereign part of them that maybe, you know, when we're first starting to walk, we're real clumsy. You know, none of us come out being a straight up runner or marathon runner or anything else like that, or a gymnast. We look quite awkward. We look like giraffes, you know, that are just getting ready to learn how to walk. So when we're just starting out with that, the less that I pound down on someone or act like what they're doing isn't good enough, or tap that shame button. If people aren't out of their shame yet, that's a good way to slow them down, and then tell them that, well, you know, I use this method. I, you know, always sage, and that's how I clear energy. You know, I went through a long period where I listened to stuff like that. Hunter's is really, really about leaning up on me, and I don't like that. That I listened for a long time that this is the only way you can do this is the only way you can do that. And one time I was so angry, I'm like, why am I not getting, you know, what I need to from this experience of, you know, playing around with crystals and stuff? And I'm not bad mouthing anything that is working, it's just it wasn't working for me. And the implication that came 11/22 from the person was, well, you know, there's something in you that you need to fix. And what I got was, you're absolutely right, it's the bullshit you're trying to deal with that's shaming you. The idea that you have to do it this way, and if you don't, you're a spiritual flunky, you know, and that you're not wholesome enough or holy enough or sacred enough, or you're not something enough, that your spiritual beingness is not worthy. And that's some bullshit that I just want to put out there heavily, that many of us aren't identifying in our spiritual energy. However, anybody that is, it's a matter that we might be clumsy, we might be, you know, awkward, and we might not know or be as refined as, you know, ballerinas pretty refined if they've been at it for, you know, 20 years and they started at 2, you know, but the 2-year-old probably isn't going to be, you know, very few are going to be Mozarty right off the cuff. So most of us go through an awkward period. And so when people tell me that, you know, you have to clear energy this way, you have to do it that, I found the most bizarre ways, you know, what would be considered bizarre. And in the beginning I did think were bizarre, because they weren't the dictated methods, they weren't the practiced methods, the ones that, you know, we're supposed to do because that's what they said. The they that I started listening to was my own team that brought in, if you call them rituals, I don't know, brought in experiences for me of, hey, go do that. And it could involve doing some stuff that I'd never do twice necessarily, or that, you know, I didn't always understand what's the significance of it. That you don't need to understand. We're just giving you the answer. You don't need to understand how and why, but it was a matter of get past the idea that you need to do an interview process, because if you're believing in us, if you believe you have a team, Kate, then why would you wait and not believe that we're just taking you through this process that's going to clear out a whole bunch of stuff much quicker than us sitting here having an interview process with you and playing 20 questions about, well, what's this, what's this, what's this? And sometimes when it's vitally important for me to understand something before I do that, then we have that talk for a very long time, because it's crucial for me to understand what I'm doing in that moment. Otherwise, just do what we're asking you to do. Be the open channel, the open vessel, the clear vessel, the clean vessel, with the pure intention of, I wish to be doing healing work for myself and for the betterment of humanity and Mother Earth energy. That's it. That's my pure intention. Okay, cool. Then how much do you want to interview this? We know what we're doing. Do you? And it's really, you know, in the beginning, when I was stumbling around and listening to a lot of people tell me, well, that's not how you do that, you're supposed to do this instead, that, or that this is evil, this is bad, you know, I've been called the devil, you know, which still amuses me. It really frightened me in the moment, because the person was coming at me in a very physical way, like was going to beat my ass hard. Yeah, and that's the power of God, the universe, and goodness, or whatever, however you classify that. My angel team, that, we're going to need to get very real about what's going on here. However, it's that not listening to that rhetoric or that dialogue anymore about that I'm something just because somebody else said so. I'm here with the intention to do good and I'm not going to listen to anybody else tell me that what I hear is hood if it's bringing results in my world. If it is not bringing results in the world, however it's changing how I feel, then that's changing the whole world, because I'm one less asshole running around being an unawakened, darkened soul. Then that's better for the earth, it's better for humanity, and it's definitely better for me. And when I see marked change in my life by dumping out all the critics and all the people who would call me a devil, or that would treat me poorly, that would disrespect me, or tell me that my unique freak is weird and all that other stuff, if we aren't compatible, if we aren't jiving together, then that's just a matter of, hey, we need to separate and go our own way. But it's not a matter of unaliving me or unaliving you or somehow destroying one another because we're doing it differently. I have my own opinions about stuff, and I have my own thoughts, and I definitely get my downloads. However, I don't have the right, because I don't want to take the right that somebody else thinks they have to be exacting some paradigm or some program or some you must do it this way on me. I don't want that done on me, then I'm not going to do that to somebody else, because that's fair play. And that's what this whole game is that balancing out the energy. And when we play with some idea that just because we found the way, we found our way, and there's not another thing that I'm going to say is that I found my way, and I'm happy to share with people some of the things that I do. A lot of them I'm just told, hey, you're not going to remember this, and the stuff that you do remember is for your eyes only, or for your experience only, to just review the energy and how that felt, and to really empower people to do their own thing. That I'm all about that I don't want other people to think that I have the answer, because unless they understand contextually that I have the answer for me. Every time I need an answer, it's given to me, by me. It might come through something that someone says. However, that's a question that gets answered right here in my head, not first by investigating out here and taking somebody's, there goes a tumbleweed. I love it. I'm going to take a tumbleweed home one day. Maybe that'll still be on the road whenever I drive home, because I want a tumbleweed. The first time I ever came to Colorado, it's the first time I ever saw them. It was the weirdest thing ever. Didn't know they were real. They're real. But anyway, I don't want to take away anybody else's sovereignty, and I don't want to take away my own sovereignty. And I denude both of us, degrade both of us, and disrespect both of us by believing that I know your answer for you. That's like giving you the answers on a test versus being a tutor to you, and being a bad tutor if I tell you the wrong answers, ahead of time, and say, well, this question is going to be on the test, so you must study this. And then you get to a pop quiz where you just royally fail because you have no idea what you're talking about. And that's what we're doing with, this is going to get washboard weird, so I'm going to need to cut this out pretty quickly. But that's what's happening whenever we have spiritualists or pastors or ministers or anybody in religious and spiritual places particularly, or in dominating governmental places, though I'm specifically talking about spirituality. Right now in USA, we're confusing a lot of that governmental and spiritual or religious stuff, so I bring that up. But when we're letting those people tell us, dictate to us, and there's that distortion, it doesn't give people the sovereignty to be able to investigate for themselves. It doesn't encourage them to, hey, look at the possibility that perhaps you're being spiritually irresponsible, or energetically irresponsible, or irresponsible in your own identity, that you're willing to take somebody else's quick answer for you. I've never been fond of anybody defining me for me, because it never felt right to me. It's just that a lot of people, we get slapped and hammered where we are, and if we're slapped and hammered and deafened and darkened so much that we don't even know anymore, those are definitely the people that, have a hard time believing that there's anything in them except what's already been told to them. However, I'm primarily not talking about them, because those tend to be the most resistant and dangerous as well. However, people that understand, they have a hint, they have a feeling, they have some notion that I think there's more. Those are people where there's hope. There's hope everywhere. However, the more statistically, you're probably going to get more reality of that person being able to awaken, the one that's at least to the point of, hey, I'm questioning this. I'm not sure that this is enough for me. I'm not sure that I'm willing to believe this story anymore. I'm not sure that I really like feeling weighted down, and I definitely don't want to be, dictated to by some clown. So anyway, I'm at my trailhead. Yes, I am. And wow, there's a lot of people here. That's unfortunate. Usually anyway, we are at Redemption Trail yet again here in Canyon City. So I hope that this has been helpful to you in some way, and I hope that you enjoy your day no matter what part you're in. And remember, get within your skin, because your little unique freak in there, that's such a beautiful, gorgeous part of you. It is the most loving, most compassionate kind. It's the purest part of you that when we reach that, that is X-Men skill that no one, not anyone, not even their X-Men skill, because no other X-Men would do it to you. But when we reach that, no one can destroy it. No one can take it. No one can ever shut it off or shut it down. It's a matter of sometimes we have to really say goodbye to a lot of things that seem like they're right. Well, they sound good. It's a matter of how does that feel? And whenever I really started questioning, yeah, that feels like shit. It doesn't matter who it came from family, came from friend, came from whomever. It doesn't matter. If it feels like shit and I feel put down by it, it's time for me to disconnect from it immediately. And that's just my path. I'm not telling anybody else what they have to do. I'm just saying that that's how I got there, was to be able to reach inside of me to that little part that said, I don't like being squashed. I don't like this. Please show me. I was getting answers. It's a matter of I needed to disconnect from all the clutter and the clutter in my butter that was consistently telling me how I should be doing it. Should, yeah, should is shit. You know, for me, it didn't work. So anyway, take care of yourselves, 2112, and enjoy your day no matter what part of the day you're in. Get within your skin, because you're divine. It is so unique, and totally, totally, totally fine. Take care. Hondo and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye, friends.